Omaha's news leader, chronicling the stories and people making a difference in our community. This is KETV Newswatch 7's Chronicle.
Hey, good morning, I'm Rob McCartney. For the next 7 weeks, we're dedicating all of our shows to the upcoming general election. It's part of our year-long commitment to covering the issues and candidates running in 2018. We are starting with the U.S. Senate race. Began with 10 candidates hoping to represent you. Now it's down to 3. Incumbent Republican Deb Fischer, Democrat Jane Raybould, Libertarian Jim Schultz. We talked with Schultz last week. That interview is online right now on KETV.com. And joining us this morning is Jane Raybould. Thanks very much for being here again.
Well, good morning.
Congratulations making it through the primary into the general.
Thank you.
I want to ask you about, first off, about the news of the day, if you will. Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. Would you vote to confirm him?
Well, you know, I think what is a problem in Washington right now is people are just so quick to come to conclusions and make judgments. I think it's really important that we hear what Judge Kavanaugh has to say, and I think it's really equally important to hear what Dr. Ford has to say. And I would certainly love to hear what the FBI determines.
Some are concerned about the politicization, if you will, of the Supreme Court, the political leanings. Does that concern you at all?
I think it is a concern of everyone, and I think that's part of the problem in Washington right now, that people come to judgment too quickly and they take sides without, listening to the facts, listening to what the nominee has to say, looking at the nominee's record, how he believes in the Constitution and in precedents. I think you have to look at the whole person in the totality, and I think with these recent allegations, I think it's very important that we examine and we investigate fully.
Okay,
we should get to the truth.
Very good. And let's get into your race. In the State Fair debate, you called Deb Fischer a senator for sale.
Yes.
Explain that, please.
Well, we actually do have a website up and running that is called Senator for Sale, because it lists all the contributions she has received from large corporations, special interest groups, and lobbyists. And we're really finding that her votes can be bought. When it comes to health care reform, she's accepted $120,000 from the pharmaceutical companies and the insurance giants. And so it's no surprise she voted along their lines. And Nebraska families are suffering the consequences of those votes. We see increasing premium prices, we see increasing costs in prescription drugs, and we know that Senator Fischer also voted for an age tax, charging our older Nebraskans 5 times more for their health insurance than younger Nebraskans. So Senator Fischer's votes certainly are voting along corporate lines and not in the best interest of Nebraskans, and they're hurting Nebraska families.
And you say you wouldn't accept corporate PAC money?
That is correct. I took a pledge to not to accept any corporate PAC money.
However, when I looked it up, you have accepted some PAC funds from groups that have corporate sponsors. So the question is, you're still getting the money from the corporations through these other groups. Is it semantics?
I think it's certainly a question of where am I going to vote and who am I going to represent. I took a pledge not to accept any corporate PAC money precisely because my vote can't be bought. I will put the needs of Nebraskans before party and our people before politics. And I think that's what we need in Washington, D.C. right now. If we really want to change what's going on in Washington, we need to change who we send to represent us.
So it's not so much where you're getting the money from, it's whether you vote for that group. Because there's groups like Blue Hen PAC, Impact PAC that have corporate sponsors from the health industry.
Well, I feel so strongly about this. One of the first pieces of legislation that I would like to introduce is Gone Washington, where senators may not solicit nor may they accept any campaign contributions from any industry that they have oversight of on any of the committees that they serve. I think we need to take stronger steps and stronger measures to end this corruption of campaign contributions, lobbyists, and special interest groups. And I commend Senator Sass, who wants to take that bold step as well.
Yeah, you lead me right into the question. I was going to ask you about those ethics reform package that he's introduced. 3 deal with Congress. There's 5 of them total. They restrict stock trades, lobbying, updates handling congressional settlements. 2 of the items deal with the president, restricting soliciting foreign money, mandating release of major party presidential and vice presidential tax returns. Are these good ideas? I mean, you say you applaud him.
I think Senator Sass is right on track. I think this is exactly what we need in Washington, D.C. right now. And unfortunately, too many senators like Senator Fischer have been bought. She's accepted millions from corporate campaign contributors and lobbyists and special interest groups, and she votes along party lines 98% of the time. So yes, this is a very timely initiative by Senator Sasse. I certainly applaud him, and I certainly look forward to working with him to execute and get these things implemented.
You've called on Deb Fischer to release her tax returns. Do you think she's hiding something?
Well, you know, it's a question of accountability and transparency. You know, during the debate, I had one opportunity to ask her one question, and Senator Fischer gave her answer, and the media came out right away and said, boy, that answer was certainly unclear. And as I've been traveling throughout the state of Nebraska, Nebraskans ask me, how did she get so rich? You know, and the serious thing about it is that Senator Fischer has been changing her story and has not been forthcoming with information. And certainly when you change your story and then say you're not going to dignify a response to the inquiries from media and certainly Nebraskans, that throws up a big red flag.
Now, what about the filing? You filed a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, for the USDA.
Yes.
Explain that, and what are you hoping to get out of that, if anything, or is that just politics? Well,
in addition to filing the FOIA, we sent a letter to the Senate Ethics Committee to launch an investigation into this, precisely because some of this information is public, but, you know, we've asked Senator Fischer multiple times to please clarify for the record. You know, I've talked to ranchers throughout Nebraska, and yes, it's customary to have some wild swings in their income depending upon the market and when they sell their product. But, you know, they say not wild swings of, you know, $2 to $4 million. That's an extraordinary swing. And I think Nebraskans, you know, they want answers.
Okay, let's get some answers on some of the issues in the race. Yeah. Immigration. Yeah. What do we do with undocumented workers who are here and commit a violent act? We have the Molly Tibbetts apparently case. Yeah. We definitely have Sarah Root's case. What would you do? What do we do with them?
You know, certainly those cases are very tragic, and you know our hearts and prayers go out to the families. But you know, that's just another indication of the dysfunction going on in Washington, D.C. They need to end this partisan bickering and come up with solutions that work across party lines to end the way we're dealing with immigration. You know,
so what's your solution?
Well, number one, we can't have open borders. Number one, we cannot have open borders. We need to take steps to secure our borders. That's number one. And is it investing in a wall in some places? Certainly, wherever it makes sense to have a wall. But there's other biometric measures that we can be putting into place that might make more sense and are much more cost effective, and beefing up border patrols. But you know, I consider it a national security risk that we do not know and cannot track the 11 million undocumented immigrants that are already in our country. I think step one is securing our borders. We cannot have open borders. Step number two is coming up with a solution, a pathway to legalization. And I'm very careful about saying the word legalization for the 11 million undocumented, because, you know, our Nebraska economy depends on this very diverse workforce. So if we removed all the hardworking immigrants in our state of Nebraska, that means our packing plants would have to close their doors, or our crops would rot in the field. We need to come up with solutions, and that means we have to come up with a legalization to those immigrants that are already in our country, abiding by our laws and paying taxes.
You mentioned industry. Business owners, any business owner worth their salt would appreciate stability out of Washington, especially in this issue. Yeah. With all the divisiveness, what do you do? What would you do? And would you reach across the aisle just to come up with something in the immigration issue that would give the businesses stability?
Well, you know, certainly as a business owner, job creator, a company that employs over 2,000 employees, yes, businesses want predictability, continuity, consistency. And what we need to do is give assurances that we are going to be working on the issues that matter to businesses. Number one, we can't do comprehensive reform. They've tried it and it's failed. So we need to do issue by issue and set up a calendar. So we need to revisit DACA. You know, we have 3,400 DACA recipients in our state of Nebraska. We've invested in them. They've contributed to our economy and our state's vitality. We've educated them. They're valuable. We do not want them to leave our state. So we need to take care of that issue first. The next issue, to help businesses, we need to expand our farm workers program, and we need to also expand the number of visas that we give to those high-tech industries, because they're saying we could employ a lot more people. You know, Omaha and Lincoln, we're called the Silicon Prairie because we have so many startup companies, and we need more of those technicians. So we need to open up and allow more visas in that capacity. And then we need to do and take on the legalization process for those 11 million undocumented in our country. And I can tell you, as a business that has been on a pilot project with E-Verify for more than 10 years, you know, we know that E-Verify works, and that would be the third and fourth step in trying to move us forward in not only securing our borders, but really identifying those hardworking people in our country who are law-abiding and paying taxes.
Let's talk about the budget. It's estimated current budget deficit will be around $900 billion by the end of the year, $211 billion in August. What's your plan to get that under control?
Well, you know, I'll tell you what is not the smartest idea in anybody's tool shed is to give a tax cut to the largest corporations and the wealthiest individuals in our country. I'm a business owner. I believe in tax cuts, but the tax cuts should have gone towards middle-class families and small businesses. Why? Small businesses are the job creators. And middle-class families, why them? Because they're the ones that take that income and pour it right back into our economy. They're the ones that help grow our economy and boost our economic growth. That's how it should have been. You know, I would have supported that type of legislation, but you know, they made those tax breaks permanent for the largest corporations and the wealthiest. It should have been, number one, I would have supported it if it contained an amendment that showed it was deficit neutral. I mean, the officials in Washington right now have blown up our deficit. And that's a very scary thing. Since when do we steal from our children's future? That doesn't make any sense. But you know what should have been a permanent tax cut? For the middle-class families and small businesses.
Well, in the House, they've just introduced a bill to make some of those tax cuts permanent. Would you support that?
You know, I would certainly support it if it were deficit neutral, but if they would roll back those tax breaks for the wealthiest corporations. You know, the Congressional Budget Office determined that when they did their analysis, that tax break costs $2 trillion. And when you factor in the net benefit, it reduced it to $1.8 trillion. That's not any way to grow our economy, and that doesn't make sense to someone who is a business owner, and I balance our budgets, and certainly on the Lincoln City Council and County Board, we have to do the same.
Well, we're going to take a short break now, but when we come back, we're going to talk about things like tariffs, healthcare, education, defense maybe. You're watching KETV News Watch 7's Chronicle. This is a special commitment 2018 edition of KETV News Watch 7's Chronicle. Joining me this morning is Democrat Jane Raybould, running for the U.S. Senate. We talked a little bit about the economy, but not tariffs. Do you think the tariffs are helping or hurting the U.S.?
Well, you know, I was one of the first people to come out strongly against tariffs, and I'm so glad to see the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce, Greater Omaha Chamber of Commerce, and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce have come out against the tariffs. Senator Ben Sasse said tariffs and the bailout are no way to lead, and I couldn't agree with him more on that issue as well. We know that is like putting salt in the wound of our farming economy and our farming families. You know, they're going through their fourth year of a down ag economy. We hear politicians talk about, oh, the economy is operating on all cylinders, everybody's benefiting, you know, 4.25% growth. But you know, that's not what's happening in our ag economy. Our farming families have seen their family's income cut in half these last 4 years. That's the greatest decrease since the Great Depression. We're hearing from a number of farming families. Farmers are committing suicide in greater numbers, alarming numbers than ever before. We're hearing about younger farming families filing bankruptcy. They don't have any equity built up in their land. That's our next generation of producers. This is very scary things that are happening in the Midwest. And you know, as the next U.S. Senator, I will do everything I can to challenge those tariffs and to get them nullified, because I see what they're doing to our farming families, and I see what they're doing to our manufacturing industry as well.
Well, what do you do then to balance that playing field that has been bandied about so much when it comes to imports and exports, that the president is trying to, he says, level the playing field?
Well, you know, there's no doubt that China is a bad actor, completely a bad actor, but we've gone about it in the absolute wrong fashion. You know, we should be partnering with our allies, Canada and Mexico. Mexico's our key trading partner to the south. importing $1.2 billion worth of corn. Those are our allies. We should have been engaged in the Trans-Pacific Partnership. You know, that would have opened up all these new Asian markets to us. And we should mend fences with the European Union. It's working together with all these allies, putting pressure on China. We know that they're a bad actor. They steal our intellectual property. But it's as if this administration has pulled a hand grenade and thrown it and launched it, and look at all the collateral damage. You know, our farmers are resilient. You know, not only do they feed the world, they fuel the world, and they're used to market swings back and forth. But this is a Washington-made trade war now turning into a Washington-made farm crisis. And Senator Fischer, she's done nothing. You know, she actually voted against an amendment that would have put an end to this Washington-made trade war and put, reasserted her authority as a U.S. Senator to challenge these tariffs. You know, Senator Fischer said there was not a compelling enough reason to take action and be a co-signer on legislation that would have ended these tariffs. I find that is unbelievable, and I think Senator Fischer should be fired for not doing everything she can to stand up for our farming economy, where 1 in 4 jobs are ag-related.
Let's look at health care. What would you do about the Affordable Care Act? Would you bring any part of it, save any part of it? What would you do?
Well, you know, again, that is very disappointing about Senator Fischer. You know, she's voted along party lines, and she's voted along with the pharmaceutical and health insurance companies that have increasing the cost of health care for all of our families. I have a 4-point solution. Number 1, we need to make sure that we end the price gouging from the pharmaceutical companies, and they should be penalized. Number 2, we need to negotiate for better pharmacy prescription drug prices for Medicare Part D. That's for our seniors. And we need to use the enormous buying power of the United States to negotiate down prescription drug prices for everyone. The third step we need to do is we need to expand those tax credits for all families of all income levels and really focus again on small businesses and families. And then the fourth step we need to do is we need to invest in nurse practitioners and physician's assistants, because we know that there's a primary care physician shortage, and we know that nurse practitioners and physician's assistants can be sent out to all the areas that are underserved right now and can take on the increasing demand for health care. But you know, Senator Fischer's votes are hurting our families in Nebraska, and I hear it from all income levels, from our seniors that say, please don't mess with my Medicare, from young families just starting out, and they're fine that it's when they get slapped with trying to pay a $5,000 deductible or to keep up with their monthly increase in premiums. Washington politicians are responsible for those price increases, and it's hurting our Nebraska families.
Would you support work requirements for Medicaid expansion?
Work requirements for Medicaid expansion?
Well, for
you know,
people,
you're talking to the people that already have 2 to 3 jobs. So you want them to work like a 4th job to qualify for Medicaid expansion? You know, Medicaid expansion is for those Nebraskans who currently make too much to qualify for Medicaid, but they don't make enough to qualify for the health exchanges. So I would say that doesn't make any sense to me, to make these folks work a 4th job. They're already working they're the working poor in our state of Nebraska. And you know what? Nebraskans, we're paying out all that federal money and allowing all those other states to benefit. You know, if we had engaged in Medicaid expansion years ago, that would have brought $2.3 billion, that's with a B, billion dollars, to our state of Nebraska to help take care of these folks. And now, what we've seen right now, we want to get that money back. And right now, they estimate it to be about $1.1 billion of infusion from federal dollars that certainly would go a long way to help the working poor in our state of Nebraska. I certainly support Medicaid expansion.
Okay, listen, education. Your website, you mentioned a voucher system won't work for Nebraska. Why not?
Well, you know what? One thing I know is that teachers are incredibly riled up and fired up about Senator Fischer's support of Betsy DeVos, a grossly unqualified Secretary of Education who would love to set up that private voucher system, private charter school system, funneling critical funds away from our great public education system that we are so proud of in our state of Nebraska. That makes absolutely no sense. If we think about property taxes as the biggest funder of our public education system, and trying to explain to our taxpayers, we're going to try to make those property taxes, your hard-earned property taxes, stretch even further and siphon off that money from a public education system to another private education system. That makes no sense. We should be reinvesting, and that's what Nebraskans have done time and time again, because we are proud of preparing our kids for 21st century jobs in our state of Nebraska.
I want to ask you about defense. The bill is moving along, providing greater defense spending, if you will, the highest pay raise in 9 years for some, 2.some%. Do you support more spending for the military, or would you cut back there?
Well, you know, I am really proud of my family. We have a tradition of having many veterans. My father was World War II, and my uncles were World War II and Korea, and I have cousins who have gone to West Point and served in Vietnam and Desert Storm in Afghanistan, in Iraq. And I think we're obligated to make sure not only do we take care of our current defense systems and invest and upgrade them like what we see happening at Offutt Air Force Base, but we owe a duty and an obligation to make sure that we take care of the veterans when they come back after their tour of duty and their service. We need to make sure that they have access to health care that will serve them and take care of them and their families. And we need to make sure that they have educational opportunities and job retraining so that they can be reintegrated into our community and our state and continue their good works and service. So I think, yes, we have to keep reinvesting in defense, but it also talks about taking care of our veterans.
Finally, I want to ask you, is there any area where you agree with President Trump?
Certainly. You know, I agree with President Trump on some of his initiatives when it comes to the Second Amendment. You know, I support the Second Amendment. My family has enjoyed going skeet shooting over the holidays. But, you know, President Trump has some great ideas. You know, he said we need to ban bump stocks. I agree with him, and we did that on the Lincoln City Council. You know, he talked about raising the minimum age from 18 to 21 for young people to purchase a weapon. You know, I certainly I look forward to working with President Trump and continuing that dialogue on making sure, number one, that we keep our kids and families safe. You know, it's politicians like Senator Fisher who say, you know, nothing can be done. And yeah, nothing will be done when you vote. Senator Fisher's voted 8 times against common sense gun safety measures like expanding background checks. We can do better, and we must do better.
Okay. We're going to be right back with some final thoughts, including why Jane Raybould thinks you should vote for her this November. First, a reminder, your comments, they're an important part of the show. If you want to be heard, email them to news@ketv.com. Love hearing from you, and we'll be right back. This is KETV News Watch 7's Chronicle, and today we've been talking with Democrat U.S. Senate candidate Jane Raybould. And as we do with all our candidates, I want to give you a full minute now so you can make a final plea, if you will, to your potential constituents. And you're right there.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm Jane Raybould, and I'm running for United States Senate because Washington is broken, and politicians like Senator Fisher are failing our families. They're failing our Nebraska farming families by not voting against all these tariffs. She's failing our seniors by voting to increase the retirement age, privatization of Social Security, and cutting Medicare by $500 billion over the next 10 years. You know, the Nebraskans I talk to just want a chance. We're independent-minded folks. We care very much about the checks and balances enshrined in our democracy. Nebraskans want a level playing field. They want a government that's on their side, that listens to them and works for them. They don't want a senator who votes along party lines 98% of the time. They want a Nebraskan who cares about our country's future more than her re-election. I'm Jane Raybould, and I ask for your help and support in your vote this November because I will always put Nebraska first.
All right. Thanks so much, Democrat Senate or U.S. Senate candidate Jane Raybould. If you missed part of this interview or one we did last week with Libertarian Jim Schultz, they're both online at ketv.com. Go to our homepage, click on the menu button, and look for Chronicle. I'm Rob McCartney. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here next Sunday morning.